Every day in Canada, we see on the news horrible stories about criminals creating all kinds of problems for people from coast to coast. How big of a problem is this really, and what are the solutions? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today on Second Street. We've got two great guests lined up to help us unpack this issue. Peter Copeland is the Deputy Director of Domestic Policy with the Macdonald Laurier Institute, and Scott Newark is a former Alberta Crown prosecutor with, among other things, 40 years of experience working in the criminal justice system. Thank you both for taking a few minutes to talk today. Let's talk, start off big picture, the problem. Um, there's an old saying that when it comes to media, what bleeds will lead. And this, of course, is the notion that we're going to be, seeing all kinds of stories about problems in this country when it comes to crimes being committed. But is that an accurate representation that we're seeing all these stories? Is it really, truly a big problem? Peter, I'll start off with you.
Sure. Thanks, Colin. Well, at the Macdonald Laurier Institute, we do publish two recurring reports on the state of our justice system. One, the Justice Report Card, which will be coming out early next year, and a new urban violent crime report. And what the data tends to show is that overall crime tends to be down in the past 10, 20 years or so. But the crime severity index, which measures the types of crime, demonstrates an increase, and violent crime in particular is on the rise in the short, medium, and long term. So Canadians, I think, are right to be concerned about that. There are also other types of crime that are up, such as property crime. Many are now familiar with addictions issues and the kind of low level types of crime
Mhm.
that are associated with that. Property crime also up. And then there is a question of reporting. So it's hard to say what you don't know, but what we know about police services and their capacity is that
Mhm.
many services have very long response times. And even for tier one and tier two priority calls, they're not able to answer the majority even
Mhm.
of some of these calls. So there are certainly worrying trends, but it's not all doom and gloom.
Scott, I know you've been following this, like I said, for 40 years now. You've been watching the system, you've been working in it in different roles. What are your thoughts on sort of the direction this country is going in when it comes to crime?
Well, I think the first thing is that something that I learned even back as a prosecutor, and just because of the connections that I had in the cases that I was prosecuting, I accidentally became a biker prosecutor, and I got connected with the RCMP's intelligence unit, and I got fed. That's how I got the information about some of these cases, because back in those days, part of the reality was there were these high risk repeat offenders being released from custody that never should have been. And they were, went out and killed people, and the system covered everything up. And so I was able to get
Mm.
the information, and I had some political connections, and I went and testified in front of Parliament and was exposing the truth about all of this. And a couple of the really important things that are absolutely relevant today, because we did make some progress in the past, is that number one, this our justice system is not the private preserve of defense lawyers and non democratic judges. It belongs to the people, to the public. It wasn't invented last month
Mhm.
by the Federal Department of Justice. It's been part of our culture for centuries. Okay. And that's why it's so important. And I learned that as well about the value and importance of the public getting to understand the truth and to know what's really going on. And that's why media, an informed and independent media, plays such an important role in this. And as I say, I've been involved in, you know, uh, getting this translated, and that's why my background helps. So I can, instead of saying, okay, here's the problem to the bureaucrats and say, find a solution, I go, no, you tell me,
Mhm.
here's the solution. You tell me why we can't do this. Okay. And I've seen in the last, as you were describing, maybe the last, couple of years, a public concern about this by professional frontline organizations, whether it's police chiefs or police associations, provincial governments, having this as a priority and making it such, and the media reporting on it. And that is what is, I think, empowering us and gives me some reason for optimism.